Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios in Atlanta, it's time for Silver Lining in the Cloud, brought to you by Computer Design and Integration.
Lining in the Cloud, where we talk with business leaders from Atlanta and the surrounding communities. Silver Lining in the Cloud is brought to you by CDI Managed Services, headquartered in Roswell, Georgia. I'm Dominic Rainey, and I'll be hosting today's show. We've got a great lineup today, and by the way, before we kick into it, I just want to spread a little advice for the guys out there who have a hard time getting into the Christmas spirit. As you guys can see, I've got the red sweater on. That does the trick, especially if it's 74 degrees out. My goodness. How can you think of Christmas? But if you have a red sweater, it does the trick. So I advise everyone to get out and get one. Hey, listen, we've got a couple of great business leaders with us on the show today. We've got Woody Brown. He's with an insurance consultant with the Rhoads, Rhoads group. And also we have with our panel today, we've got Dr. Charles Kim. He's with the Georgia Gwinnett Chiropractic Clinic. So welcome to the show, guys. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. And, I know it's a tough time of the year to take a break and do something like this, but we appreciate it. It's for a good cause. Absolutely. So we need to get the word out on your companies and what you guys are all about. So, hey, listen, Woody, why don't you kick things off? Tell us a little bit about, your organization, the Rhoads Group, and what you're doing there.
Sure, absolutely. So we are an independent agency. And a lot of times I get the question, what is an independent agency, right? So basically, the best way I can kind of explain it is this, my wife and I, we agree on a lot of things. Sometimes not so much. And it just kind of reminded me the other day when she was pregnant with our son, she had the craziest cravings of all time. And so some days whenever I would feel like, Chinese food, she would feel like Applebee's. Or, the day that I felt like Applebee's, she would feel like Ted's Montana Grill, right? And so basically imagine if you could go to a restaurant and get all of the menus of all of your favorite places, right? And you could select from that based on your needs and your wants for the time. It's basically what an independent agency does for insurance. So rather than kind of being trapped and only being able to offer one product from one company, we have access to a lot of different companies so that we can truly fit them and meet the needs of the prospective client, whether that is, an auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, or business insurance. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially what an independent agency does, and that's what I do. It's
excellent. You help people, you help sort it out and get several different options and quotes and things like that, right?
So absolutely.
You're kind of the broker in between, putting the deal together.
Exactly.
That's great. And you guys are located in Cumming, I see. Right?
Yes, sir. Our main office space is in Cumming, but the beautiful thing about insurance is we're licensed in the state of Georgia, so I have clients all the way down South Georgia to people that go to school at Georgia Southern, and all the way up to Dahlonega, Georgia. So all across the state.
Mostly on a referral. I'm sure you
referral basis.
Great referral
right
for business. So you go wherever the opportunity is.
Right, exactly.
That's great. Hey, listen, so what kind of insurance do you guys specialize in terms of, auto and health and that kind of thing?
Sure.
Give us an idea.
So the one thing that we don't specialize in is health, and that was by design. As you know, I don't know if you guys keep up with the news and stuff, as I'm sure you do. Health insurance is a beast that I didn't want to try to tackle. So we specialize in home, auto insurance, life insurance, and like I said, business insurance. So people that own a business, making sure that they're protected. Those are the types of insurance that we cover.
Mm-hmm. Is there that much difference, Woody, in insurance agency or companies?
Yeah,
or carriers.
Sure, absolutely. Another advantage that we have as an independent agency is we actually hand pick every single company that we work with. And so we base our decision on a lot of factors, but, a couple of them would be, ratings as far as customer service goes, how these companies handle claims. We rate it on how fast and how quick we have access to them. If our customer needs something, they're going to call us. And if we need something from that insurance carrier, then, how quickly they do business. Nowadays time is money. Yeah. And one of the things that I love and I'm a hustler, I'm always moving, I'm always shaking, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't want my customer to have to wait. None of us like to wait. when we need something done, especially when it comes to like, hey, my house is on fire, I need some help. Those are important times to think. And so we rate all these factors into deciding who we want to do business with. So to answer your question, no, not every carrier is the same, and they all specialize in different things as well. So you could have a situation where maybe somebody doesn't have the greatest driving record, or maybe their credit isn't that great or whatever. We have specific carriers that can help those people, help make sure that they're protected. Because at the end of the day, if we're all driving around in the same streets, it's going to make us all safer if everybody has insurance. Unfortunately, the facts are not everybody does. So, that's kind of one of our goals, too, is to kind of make sure the community as a whole is protected.
We're talking with Woody Brown. He is the lead insurance consultant, independent insurance agency consultant with the Rhoads Group in Cumming. And, this is a tough business. It's a very competitive business, and you've pointed out some really great differences. I mean, you're a customer, too, right? So,
absolutely.
I like what you said about, you feel the pain, and if something's happening to you, you want service.
Right.
So you actually go out and sit down and interview these companies and make sure they meet your standards at the Rhoads Group.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. A lot. Wow. So do independent insurance agents represent certain, in your case, top tier companies, or you said you cover the spectrum? So some clients have particular, I don't know what you want to call it, rating, if you will. You've kind of covered the spectrum of ratings,
sure,
so you can meet the needs of a wide group of clients.
Right, and all of the companies are A or A plus rated by AM Best, so they're rated very highly. They're financially backed, very well. But again, they all have sort of specific specialties as far as like the type of consumer maybe that they want to cover that risk, and it's so funny. Insurance it's basically a game of statistics, right? People will say, well, why is my rate this or why is my rate that? And there's a lot of factors, hundreds of them, but one of the main ones is statistics. How likely is this individual, because essentially an insurance company is kind of placing a bet on you, right? How likely am I going to have to pay for something that they do, right? And so they put in all these factors. Maybe it's based on your prior history. Maybe you've had a house that burned down before, or you've made small claims, over the number of years and all this kind of thing. They're going to rate you a little bit differently than someone that hasn't made any, I mean?
Yeah.
So, kind of to answer your question again, yes, all of the companies are high rated. And I think one of the popular questions we get too, or something that comes up is, gosh, I haven't seen a commercial for this insurance company.
Yeah, what if I haven't heard of these guys, right?
And a lot of times that's the case. I think some of the companies' names, like for example, Travelers, people have heard of Travelers, what happens is rather than spending the billions of dollars on advertising and TV commercials, and listen, I love those commercials. I love watching them. They're hilarious. I love the guys from Saturday Night Live, Hans and Franz or whatever. Yeah. But rather than spending that kind of money on the advertising, they choose to kind of help you in making the rates more competitive. So at the end of the day, you're not the one paying for the commercial. You know what I mean? Because, the money has to come somewhere, and typically it's on the back of the consumer. So even though you haven't heard of the company, these are all very good, highly rated companies that we work with.
Okay. Woody, is there a better time to shop for insurance than other times? What can you help our listeners with in terms of when they should buy into?
Sure. So
compare.
That's
everybody's
a great question.
Got insurance.
Yep, exactly. That's a great question. There's no best time. In other words, like this is going to sound silly, but if I could write you a check, is it better if I wrote it today or tomorrow? Right? So really, you don't get any. They're not going to charge you if you switch over to another insurance company. In fact, it doesn't even cost you anything for me to take a look at your policies. So one of the things that we do on a consultative basis is we want to make sure that you're protected adequately. So one of our goals isn't just to make it cheaper, right? If you wanted the cheapest insurance in the world, I think we all know, what website you can go to. But if you want to make sure that you're covered, and protected properly, then that's what our goal is. We want to make sure your coverage is right. So the best time is now, really. I mean, truthfully, because, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, you could be driving down the road, you get in a wreck, and oops, I didn't know what my liability limits were, and now you're coming out of pocket, right? Mm-hmm. So to answer your question very simply, today's the best time.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like any other, phone service, cable TV and all that stuff, it changes all the time. The rates change, the prices change, the bundling deal changes.
Right.
So I guess anytime you want, right?
Right. Rates,
check it out.
Exactly. And I'm going to, here's an industry secret for you. And
okay.
I'm just going to, we
all
might
about
break the internet today.
Listen, everyone.
Rates continually rise. That's the insurance industry. They're gonna rise. Okay, it's not a huge shocker, right? But a lot of times they rise in such a way that it's kind of just a little bit over time, and so you know it's enough to where. And what I think, you know, some mathematician from Harvard probably came up with a formula and said, if we only increase by X amount every year, people aren't going to go crazy, right? So the rates continually rise, and that's where we kind of come into play. We don't work for the insurance company. We work with them, right? So we have several companies. As the rates continually rise, and what we find is every couple years, once we find you the most competitive rate now, every couple years, you should want to shop your insurance, you know, and we do that for you. So we're proactively doing this for you. We're going to make sure that everything's going well. If there is a more competitive rate, we're going to find that for you. You know, so I don't know.
Keep in touch with Woody Brown.
Right, exactly.
You know, and he'll make sure you're getting the best deal, the right matchup, I guess is a good way to put it. So there's the value,
right?
You know, in having an independent agent working on your behalf.
Right.
That's what I'm getting out of this. This is great. This is great. Good stuff. And from looking at you, I can tell you're a serious guy. You get the job done with having a good time when it comes to putting the pedal to the metal, so to speak. You're working on behalf of your clients. That's great. We're talking with Woody Brown here. He's with the Rhoads Group in Cumming. And here on Silver Lining in the Cloud, we're talking about insurance with one of the top independent insurance agents in the Atlanta area. So how soon should someone get a quote on insurance? I mean, when you say every couple of years and or life changes every time there's a life change, something like that.
Right. Anytime you're doing any kind of updates to your home,
okay.
You know, let's say you have an unfinished basement whenever you bought the house and you got your original policy, but you get it finished over time, or maybe your wife doesn't really like the way the kitchen looks and you guys update that, you should let your insurance agent know. Yes, it's going to change the rate a little bit because your replacement cost, how much is it going to cost to replace your home, that's going to change. And, you know, heaven forbid something happened to your house before you got a hold of your insurance agent, you're going to get a replacement kitchen that was what was on the original policy.
You don't want to be underinsured. That's
exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. And I mean, life changes you mentioned too. Someone gets engaged. A lot of times people don't understand, you know, if they have jewelry or high value items like art, guns, ammunition, coins, valuable things like that, there's a certain limit on those items for theft. So if your house gets broken into, you know, besides electronics, what are the things that a thief is looking for? They're going for cash. They're going for jewelry, those high value items. Most standard homeowners policies, there's a limit. For example, jewelry, $1,500.
That's the standard limit?
That's the standard limit.
Everybody gets $1,500.
Pretty much standard, right? And it kind of varies between companies, but
that doesn't go very far today.
Exactly. And, you know, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I remember whenever I was shopping for my wife's engagement ring, $1,500 just wouldn't have cut it. You know what I mean? So, but it's a very simple fix. You can get that endorsed on the policy, and for a very low dollar amount, for example, like a $10,000 ring or something, is going to cost you maybe $110, $120 a year to cover that for theft or mysterious disappearance is what they call it, if, you know, it just gets lost, you know. So that's something very important to kind of be in touch with your insurance agent about.
Okay. All right. So back to the Rhoads Group. What tell us a little bit about the organization and you know, how long they've been in practice.
Sure.
Things like that.
So
what makes it better and different other than the things you pointed out?
Right. So my boss, the owner of the agency, Clayton Rhoads, has a background in insurance. So does his partner. I think collectively we all have about maybe 15, 16 years worth of insurance experience together. A couple years ago, he decided to go the independent channel. He worked for a captive agency for a number of years.
Okay.
And so there's about 6 of us now. We're growing constantly. I mean, we just added 2 more people last month to the agency.
Pretty good sized agency.
Right. And, we're all hardworking, fast-paced people that truly care and have a passion for what we do. I think it's easy to kind of, as soon as I tell someone, yes, I'm in insurance, it's like they instantly gloss over because they're like, okay, this guy's going to try to sell me something. Or, it's not the sexiest, industry in the world. But all of us have this passion for helping others and making sure that, they're getting a good deal and that they're protected.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like, like me, if something things don't happen to you and you never use it, that's the hardest thing to stroke a check for.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, the laws of probability, I guess you talked about it earlier. What's the formula? I mean, it can happen.
Right.
And you got to be protected.
Right.
And you got to protect your family.
Absolutely. And truthfully, the folks that nothing ever happens to and things like that, I mean, a lot of times, probably with their current company, are probably overpaying for the same amount of coverage they could get elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're one of those out there that feel like you're overpaying, call Woody.
Right.
Call Woody Brown and get the latest and greatest tips and pricing and spread of companies. That's excellent.
And that's the thing too. If you think you're overpaying, the fun thing is that, like, how do you know? Right?
Yeah,
if you don't
know?
compare, right?
If you're questioning at all.
They've got these apps now that you can go to the store, scan an item, and see if it's cheaper somewhere else.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So basically, I'm that app.
Oh.
Everybody likes to have, there's an app for that. I'm the guy for that. So just, give me a call. I can take a look. And that's the thing, too. It's such a painless process for you as a consumer. Because
how long does it take?
I mean, if once I get the information that I need from you, I can have a quote to you same day, and kind of go over the specific things. And if it doesn't work out, I'll at least point out places in your policy to maybe go over with your current agent.
Okay. All right. Well, we've established your passion and for helping others translate into the work, your insurance agency background. Your overall goal is really to help clients understand the ins and outs of the insurance. I see that, but there's another side to Woody Brown. You look like you're pretty fit.
I'm a pretty fit guy.
A pretty fit guy. What's going on with that? You've got some background in triathlons and things like that.
Yes,
Tell us
sir.
a little bit about that.
Sure. So I'm a triathlete. For the listeners that don't know exactly what that might be, that means I'm one of those crazy people that just a regular running race isn't good enough. And we swim, we bike, and then run. I competed in an Ironman triathlon out in Boulder, Colorado, a couple years ago. An Ironman starts with a 2.4 mile swim, and then followed immediately by 112 miles on the bike, and then a full 26.2 mile marathon afterward. So, some of my friends will say, yeah, you're not a triathlete, you're a lunatic. I have friends that say, gosh, it makes me tired when I drive that far. So, but, I got into it a couple years ago as a way to kind of enter into my, 30s and then, in a few more probably less years than I'd like to admit into my 40s to just maintain health and fitness and just be active.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. That could be a good segue into our next guest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Woody, tell our listeners, unless you have anything else that you want to say, go ahead. We've got a little extra time today, and other than that, tell our listeners how they can reach out to Woody Brown and
Sure.
the Rhoads Group and find out and get those quotes. Get an estimate.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I think a lot of times I find that people are kind of reluctant because they are used to dealing with things like, maybe their phone company. They're calling an 800 number. They're having to say the same story over and over to different people. And so they're a little bit reluctant to even go through the quoting process because they think it's going to be the same thing. And so I guess my encouragement to any listener out there who's fired up today about insurance because they just heard me is that it's going to be a painless process, truthfully. I have a series of some specific questions and to go over with you. And, you're going to kind of come out knowing a couple of things. One, the current coverage you have is on the money. You don't have to worry about it. You can sleep tight this Christmas and know that you're protected and you're all good. Or two, there's better coverage out there, maybe around the same price point. Or three, in the ideal situation, there's better coverage, cheaper, saving you money, putting money in your pocket that you can spend on eggnog or whatever. So I would say, the right time is always now. My phone number, it's a direct line straight to my cell phone. Don't call it now because I'm on the radio, 770-654-4768. And then my email address is Woody, WOODY, at Rhoads, that's RHOADS -group.com. So call, email, shoot me a text message, send up a smoke signal, turn on the bat signal, whatever you need to do. Let's talk and let's get you covered.
Yeah, great, Woody. You strike me as the kind of guy that probably carries his phone with him when he's working out, running down the road, talking to people about their
Absolutely.
insurance.
I have literally, it's funny that you say that. I've literally answered the phone in the middle of a run. Hey, I'm running right now. Let me call you back.
That's great. That's great. All right, Woody Brown, the Rhoads Group in Cumming. Give him a call. All right, you've been listening to Silver Lining in the Cloud, brought to you by CDI Managed Services. Our next guest up is Dr. Charles Kim. Dr. Kim has a background in chiropractic, and he's head of the Georgia Gwinnett Chiropractic Clinic. Dr. Brown, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Dr. Brown. Dr. Kim. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, good morning.
Tell us a little bit about your clinic and what you guys are doing.
Okay, once again, my name is Charles Kim. I'm a board certified sports chiropractic doctor.
Okay.
And we have two other doctors. So, three of us have more than 53 years of experience together. And we have, two full-time staffs and three part-time staffs. And we opened our clinic in 2012 in Duluth.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're right off Beaufort Highway there in Duluth.
Yep, Old Peachtree and Beaufort Highway.
Okay, all right.
And one thing about our clinic, it's about 10-minute distance from Suwannee and from Johns Creek and Lawrenceville.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about 10-minute distance.
You're right in the triangle there.
Yeah, I'm in the center.
Yeah, you're in the center.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of thought went into that, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Because putting your clinic up is it's got to be strategic. Go ahead.
One thing that make our clinic unique because we provide different language. We have we speak Spanish and English and Korean, and not only we taking care of our general population, but we also work with athletes such as professional like NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and PGA, and LPGA, CrossFit and triathlon, and some Olympic athlete. So
I wasn't kidding when I said that because I looked at his website and I saw his bio, and I'm telling you, this guy's he's more than just a chiropractor, a bone twister or whatever you want to call it. This is serious stuff here. What a great background. How did you get into chiropractic and with the sports angle, and also it looks like you've done a lot with car high speed impact recipients of helping people with those conditions as well.
That's right.
So you're pretty broad. Your scope of professionalism is broad scoped, and you can handle a lot of different kinds of difficulties that that people are experiencing. So, Dr. Kim, tell us why you chose chiropractic.
Well, actually, I injured my back, and then for 5 days, I couldn't move, or I couldn't lay down, I couldn't stand up. So I had a consultation with the doctors, and then she told me that possibly I need to have like surgery for my low back. So at the time I was young, like late 20, and I didn't want to have surgery.
Yeah.
So I was looking for other alternative way to treat my symptoms. And I had a meeting with one doctor, and then when I went to his office, I couldn't really walk. So I needed somebody to help me to get into his
That's
office.
pretty severe. Huh?
And then he did some muscle test, and he told me clearly, Charlie, I think you need about 2 treatment, and you'll see significant improvements in your low back pain. And I didn't really buy that.
You're a little skeptical.
Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
But after first treatments, I made some improvements. So wow,
You felt relief.
yeah, I feel like relief without taking any medication.
Oh,
So I went to see him again in following week, and he treated me again, and I get about 75% better.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel wow, this is in a great area. So maybe I need to do more research for my potential career. So I went through schools and finished my program, and I love it so much. I also did my graduate school in master's program in sports science.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, I really enjoy helping people, and I'm getting a lot of satisfaction from helping people who are going through this pain.
Yeah. Well, athletes obviously are probably, I don't know what to say about it, but that's your prime target for having all kinds of issues, especially contact sports. Guys that are in contact sport, or people, not guys, but guys and gals that are in contact sports. I mean, it has a tremendous effect on your body. I know you guys deal with the spine, and that's kind of the focal point, I suppose. But we can talk a little bit more about that. But looking at your picture over here, you've got a diagram of a lady who's looks like she's pretty erect and looks like she's in pretty good shape. Tell us about the body, and maybe even related to this particular example of what's going on, and when we're having when do we know we're having a problem other than extreme pain, and how you can help people.
One of the most important organ system in your body is obviously your brain, which controls everything in your body. And then you have the spinal cord, that's the extension from your brain, and we call that central nervous system.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you remember that actor named Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
He fell from the horse.
Yes.
And he injured his upper neck area, and he was totally paralyzed.
Yes,
he couldn't move, and he needed assistance. Right? He was on wheelchair. So the neck area is very important. They're connecting your brain to rest of your body.
Right.
And then sometimes our patients come to our clinic, and I analyze their X-ray. And you must have nice curve in your neck. We call that arc of life. So you have curve in the neck, and you also have a curve in the low back. They're facing same direction. And you have also a curve in the mid back. They're facing opposite direction. They're making
it's
S
like
line.
an S, yeah.
And then in your neck area, you have about 7 bone. That's why you have C7. C stands for cervical. So doctors call that cervical instead of neck. And for your mid back, we call thoracic.
Thoracic.
Instead of mid back.
Okay.
And you call lumbar in your low back area. That's why you have that initial C in your neck, and T in your mid back, and L in your low back. And you have 7 bones in your neck area. And when I have a consultation with my patients, I'm trying to make it simple so they can, remember.
Yes.
So I said, well, you have 7 bones in your neck because you probably have breakfast around 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah, really.
And for your mid back, maybe you have lunch at 12. So you have 12 bone in your mid back.
Oh, excellent.
And then early dinner at 5 o'clock. So you have 5 bones in your low back.
I like that. A doctor who makes it simple.
And then when you combine, neck and mid back together, 7 to 12, it's 19. Plus 5, that's 24. Why? Because 24 hours per day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And when you look at this bone, you have that disc in between. And you must have nice disc, because function of this disc is to absorb shock.
Absorb shock. It's a okay.
Yep. And then when you have degeneration, you lose that height, and you can have like impingement on your nerve, or you can have bulging disc or herniating disc. And when that happens, you're going to have like pain on your body.
You're gonna know it.
And many people think that, especially in this country, pain is bad, but actually, pain is your body's way of communicating with you. It's like crying baby. Baby's crying because baby maybe need to get some food, or thirsty, or baby's sleepy, or simply
want some attention.
Yeah, more attention, or wet diapers. You don't want to just like shut baby's mouth when baby's crying, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Too many people, when they have pain, they don't want to deal with the pain, so they go to Publix or Kroger and get some over-the-counter pain medication and taking like Tic Tacs,
anti-inflammatories,
in hoping that they don't have to experience pain. One of the analogy I use is that like when you get into your car and when you see that engine light on your car, what are you supposed to do? You gotta take it to your mechanic to find out.
You want that light to go out.
Exactly. Because
go away.
For some people, why bother to go to the mechanic? They get a piece of duct tape to cover, so they don't have to see that. You don't
want to get stuck on I-285.
Yeah, that's why sometimes you see those counter fires on the freeway and causing traffic.
Right.
So medical doctors, they trying to eliminate the symptoms that you have, which is also important. Yeah. But as a sports chiropractic doctor, one of my main goal is to analyze your condition and trying to find out cause of your symptom and eliminate that cause.
Permanent
so
fix.
You don't need to go back to clinics over and over.
Yeah.
And you can eliminate a lot of medication that you may take in the future.
Well, Dr. Kim, are we over-medicated as a society? What is your thought on
that? I feel there's like there's overdose in my opinion, because I'm not one of those people that okay, I gotta take this pain medication because I have pain. I wanna find out the cause of the problem. Also, when it comes to vitamin, I'm not one of those person who taking like 10, 15 pills of vitamins per day. I'd rather take vitamins from food that I'm eating.
Okay.
Like could be my green vegetables or lemons or meat. But I feel that this country we spend so much money for like Medicare medication. But when you really look at the conditions of people compared to other industrialized country, like we rank in pretty much like bottom of the rank. Like out of 40 country, last time when I did research about, we rank about 37th.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's not good. That's a high number in that category. It's not good. We're talking with Dr. Charles Kim, the Georgia Gwinnett Chiropractic Clinic. Good information we're getting here about chiropractic as well as nutrition, because they go hand in hand to some extent, right?
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's your prime evidence. Looking at you, you look like you're in great shape. So practicing what you preach, right?
Yep.
Tell us about losing weight. I mean, does that come into chiropractic?
Oh, yeah. That's very important topics in my opinions, because let me give you some story. I was in Europe last year. I was staying in Europe for 11 days. I was in different countries. I was in Paris and London and Switzerland, Germany. And one thing in common in this European country, I didn't see much obese people.
Really?
Like pretty much like everybody look so fit. So I was wondering what's going on. I see like thousands of people in Paris, and then maybe there's like one or two obese people. So I get close to them, and they're tourists from America.
Oh, no. What happened to us, man? What happened to us?
A lot of
in
has
America?
to do with your lifestyle,
Yeah.
especially food that you eating. Like when you see your coworkers during the lunchtime, look at the food they eating. They think it's healthy, but actually they are not. Let me give you some example.
Okay. Yeah.
Like yogurt,
Mhm.
diet soda, and wheat bread, and cereal bar. Some of your colleagues or yourself, you may think that they are healthy, but they are not because they have high fructose corn syrup,
Mhm.
which is like really addictive. I think study shows that it is about 20 times more addictive than cocaine.
Oh my goodness.
And this high fructose corn syrup, that's a direct cause of this obesity.
Makes you feel good for a while, though.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, from time to time, everybody needs like vacation meal.
The Sunday on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Sunday on Sunday.
I try to do one vacation meal per week.
You cheat, so you do cheat a little.
Yeah, you can. I call that like a vacation meal. Because otherwise, you'll be like really, really stressed out. Also, stress can cause cancer, right? So I'm trying to be like
Bad
easy on it.
habits. Yeah, bad habits.
Also, many people that I know of, they like to eat potato chips. I used to eat potato chips a lot too. And when they see like fat-free on their back, they think it's safe.
Yeah,
But actually, they're not
yeah.
because they have like fat substitute such as olestra or olein, which can block vitamin A and vitamin D from your digestive system. So for long term, this is actually worse than gluten.
Oh boy.
So that's something that we need to know. And then a lot of countries in Europe, they ban these products.
So when someone comes to see you, Dr. Kim, you talk nutrition as well when you're talking.
Oh, yeah.
When they come in for chiropractic, do you take part of your analysis talk about nutrition as well?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So they're getting a full inspection or checkup, right? That's good. So great advice as well as fixing some of the problems that you're seeing. That's excellent. What else is happening in the practice right now?
Well, we are not really selling any vitamin, but I advise that people when they chew, they need to chew about like 30-40 times. But it's really hard to chew like 30-40 times. That's why I ask them to get some digestive enzymes, such as amylase, that usually stay in your mouth. So whenever you eat some bread or pasta, unless you can chew about 30-40 times, you need to take some supplement that can really help you break down, because any undigested food that stay in your stomach, that just stays a calorie that becomes your body fat. So if people exercise, work hard, so hard, but still they have a lot of body fat, they need to take some supplements. Amylase for carbohydrate, and lipase for your fat breakdown. So I usually
advice.
advise them to take those digestive enzyme, and I see some positive results among those patients.
And they're attributing sleep. There's a lot of sleep disorders in our country today. A lot of people using CPAP machines and things like that. So, why is decreasing your sleep pattern bad for your health?
Okay, I usually
If people are on the move and they're just grabbing a little bit of sleep here and there, ultimately, was that going to create an issue?
Sleep is like really, really like important, because while you are sleeping, not only you get refreshed physically, but also that's when your DNA repairing systems happen. During the daytime, you are exposed to sunlight, and you get stress, and you have many broken DNA, and then that's one of the reasons that you need to have good sleep. So I consider good sleep, good nutrition, and exercise. Those are three most important things
Yeah.
to maintain.
They're tied together in the total package, right? That's great. So, what else is going on in the chiropractic world? What's new? Is there any new devices or new procedures or anything like that we need to know about?
Oh yeah. People who have disc problem, for example, I really want them to consider getting second opinions, because some people who went through disc surgery, they have positive outcome. Some other people sometimes they get worse. So if there's any less invasive treatments available, they can take advantage of that.
Oh, okay.
One of the machine that our clinic has is VaxD machine, and the VaxD machine that's supposed to eliminate that disc symptoms, so that there's possibility that you may not have any disc surgery.
Oh wow! What's the name of that? How do you spell that?
VaxD.
VaxD.
VAX-D.
Okay, VaxD. Okay.
And then last time when I checked, there's about 7-8 clinics in state of Georgia. They actually have this VaxD machine. And then according to studies, there's more than 70% of people who went through these treatments, and they didn't need surgery after these treatments.
Oh my goodness!
So that's one thing that they may wanna consider.
Yeah.
Before surgery.
That's the last thing I expected to hear you say is get a second opinion. That's great. That speaks a lot about yourself and your character and your your interest in helping people get things fixed.
Yeah.
Get it permanently fixed. Well, that's great. Great information. We're glad to have you here on the show today. Is there anything else that we need to know about the chiropractic industry and what you guys are doing?
Well, whenever our clinic get a phone call from potential patients, they usually ask how much it is. That's the first question they ask.
How much is it? Is it covered by insurance?
Yeah, they're covered by insurance.
That's probably the next question, right?
If they're looking for cheapest in a chiropractic office, we are not belong to that category, because there's some clinic out there, they charge you substantially low rate,
just like everything in
but
life.
Yeah, and then a lot of those clinic, they ask you to prepay for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 3 months, and some clinic ask you to pay 1 year, 3-month plan. And then our clinic, we analyze your X-ray and analyze your muscle conditions and soft tissue, and we fix the problem, and then we have a follow-up. And then normally that's the way we do it.
Oh,
and
great
then
practice.
And then if that's beyond our scope of practice, we don't hesitate to refer you to some other specialist right away.
Okay.
So you don't have to get unnecessary treatments for 2-3 months, and it doesn't work for me, so go to other place.
All right. Well, both of you guys are looking out for the customer. That's great. Customer centric. It's what it's all about, to make great differentiator. Great different. Well, how can our clients, how can our listeners, your clients, future clients, find out more about your practice there at the Georgia Gwinnett Chiropractic Clinic, and how they can get in touch with you guys and set up an appointment?
Okay. They can call my office number at 678-587-5390.
Okay.
That's the best way to reach us.
Okay.
Also, they can email to my, let me give them my personal email address.
Okay. All right.
drcbkim@gmail.com.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Great information. You've been listening to Silver Lining in the Cloud, where we talk with business leaders from Atlanta and their surrounding communities. Thank you to our guest today, Woody Brown with the Rhoads Group, and also Dr. Kim with the Georgia Chiropractic Clinic. We appreciate both of you for being on the show. And I'm Dom Rainey with CDI Managed Services, where we work with companies to outsource their IT support and cloud computing. And again, for information about this show and future shows as well, as a reminder, just go to silverlining.businessradiox.com. And we thank you all for having a great show and a great day. You all have a great Christmas as well.
Thank you.